Blythe returns for part two of season two of Billy the Kid. New episodes coming to us very, very soon. Tom, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
So, the last episode, Billy the Kid is trying to end the Lincoln County War. Now he's about to take over. Tell us a little bit about where we're going to begin.
Yeah, so we left halfway through season two, the previous part of the story, with Billy kind of stepping into a leadership role. His father figure and John Tunstall has obviously, spoiler alert, come to his bitter end. And we now are getting to see Billy kind of step into those shoes and fill the big shoes that everyone has always kind of expected him to fill. And with that, he has to make some difficult decisions. He has to decide whether to really take the fight to his old friend Jesse Evans, and all the risks and the dangers that come along with that in terms of putting his new friends in the line of fire. And also there's the love story between him and Dulcinea. When we last saw them, they were passionately in love, but also passionately on different ends of where they should be. They kind of Dulcinea didn't want him to be an outlaw, and Billy doesn't feel he has a choice. So they kind of were not on the best of terms last time we saw them. And hopefully this season we'll see them reunite and see all the wonderful things that comes with that.
And see where that goes. We chatted at the
Yeah,
beginning, right before the series started. And you
yeah,
went down, like we talked about how it wasn't just books and movies that you did your research on Billy the Kid, that you actually went down to New Mexico, you went down to Lincoln County. As you've been filming the seasons and the episodes, like how has that research that you've done kind of shaped how the series have has turned out?
yeah. I mean, I was so lucky to get to do that, to get to go and like actually be in the land where Billy lived. And even 2 years down the line, doing season two and now season two part two, um, I still call back on those memories, and I still feel like they come into play every day that I'm on a horse or every day that I'm riding into the Lincoln County War, and it feels present all the time, which is really cool. It's like, hopefully if we continue with the show and keep making this, it will be something that I get to carry forward with me and long after we finish making the show. Because it is such a rich place and a rich history, and New Mexico is like will always have a big place in my heart. And the history of New Mexico as well, which is the history of America in many ways. So it does feel very present still.
When you were down there when you're filming, I mean, can you is Billy the Kid's presence still like just as relevant now as it was back then?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It definitely in certain parts of New Mexico and Lincoln County and Fort Sumner and places where that history is, like you can see the houses where he was. You can see the jail cell that he was in, the courthouse where he had his hearing. All of that's still, Bob Ollinger, where Bob Ollinger was shot in a prison escape, like that is still there, those places. So when you're there, you can feel it. And I think I don't want to speak for the locals, but in my experience of speaking to them, the locals tend to feel like it's a big part of their history and their culture too. Um, and obviously, just like the building of the American West is a big part of that part of the world, and everything that all the ups and downs that came with it. So I mean, I get messages all the time from people who are from New Mexico and love the show and talk about how they love it when Billy is represented in an intricate way, which I feel the show does.
I mean, speaking of the messages that you get, especially we got the last episodes at the end of 2023. I mean, it's a long period of time, and I'm sure like whether you're in a restaurant or airport or on social media, that fans want to theorize, what's going to happen next, or want to talk a little bit about the series. Is that kind of tough period of like not being able to say too much until waiting till the new episodes are ready to air?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's often the case with television and film, but I mean the kind of lucky thing of this job, which I actually love about it, is that if people want to go and read the history, they can, and a lot of the history is out there for people to see, and what the show gives them is a more kind of dramatized insight into what may have happened in between the lines, because there's only so much that the history books tell us, and there's so much out there that we don't know about that time, and so much that we the why behind it all and the more intricate relationships and all of that stuff is stuff that we can only conjecture about. So the show allows us to like really go deep and do a deep dive into what may have happened, other than the plot points. So it's those bits that I can't really talk about to people most of the time. And I just have to say, tune in, tune in when you can. But yeah, it's hard to hold on to it, but I'm excited for fans to be able to tune back in very, very soon.
Billy the Kid, close to his mom. You were close to your mom, and watching American westerns at that point. Are you getting messages from fans, especially like we're watching this as a family, or I got closer to them because we make this appointment television to be able to watch the show?
I've had a couple. I've had a few messages of people kind of saying how much it means to them as a family, and oftentimes those are people from that area of the world as well. I've had quite a few messages from people who are just like overall Billy the Kid fans, whether it's our show, whether it's other movies, famous movies, whether it's just history books. But there are people out there who are really into this story for obvious reasons. I think it's a very American story. I think it's a story of hope because he's a character who, although he was in tricky situations most of his life, he was a hopeful kid, and all the books describe him as someone who everyone loved and who kind of was a leader of people, but also was a young man just trying to get by. So I think it's a very relatable story.
Awesome, Tom. Well, we cannot wait for the new episodes to come out. MGM Plus, part two of season two, coming to us on June 2nd. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's great to see you again.
You too. Thank you.